Hello everybody, welcome back to more AEW and TEW 2020. We are here July of 2022, week 3 on our Wednesdays for our Dark and Dynamite double showcase after our worst show in a long time on our last episode of Rampage, but that's fine, we can move on without it. We start off our episode of Dark with Jamie Hayter defeating Yuka Sakazaki. Abaddon defeats Leva Bates. Top Flight defeat the Wu-Ten Clan. Paige Van Zant then defeats Bianca Corelli. And after the match, Brandy Rhodes cautiously heads out from backstage, making sure that she has people watching out for the Cult of Cole. Of course, they were attacked last week by the Cult. And Brandy says, Paige Van Zant, you were one of the premier free agents that we've signed, a legitimate UFC fighter brought into AEW. But, as we know, not everyone always adjusts well from UFC to pro wrestling, and, well, you have the spokesman of one of the best to ever do it, Brock Lesnar, in your corner. And, of course, Paul, I appreciate your help, both in teaching Paige Van Zant, as well as helping run AEW, but in the end, we still need to make sure you know the intricacies of pro wrestling, and yes, you've had a good run so far. So, the Nightmare Factory is always open to you, Paige. And you've already seen with Bianca just now what we can produce. We also have people like Roxy and former championship challenger Lavender Sky, who can learn from you and how to fight well, and you can learn from them about the ins and outs of pro wrestling. So, pretty simple there. Paige Van Zant possibly getting some tutelage from the Nightmare Factory. Mary Dobson defeats Kylie Ray. Hams Katana defeats Jessamine Duke. And afterwards, Hams and Morgan are celebrating in the ring when they're both struck from behind by Killer Kelly with her chain. Kelly keeps beating them down, only being stopped when Jessamine Duke runs in to stop Kelly. Kelly runs off. She's not really stopped at all. She kind of gives up rather than being stopped. And she's barking insults at the ring as Duke helps up Daniels, Katana, and Shalata. So Jessamine Duke may be helping out with DKE from Killer Kelly, who is someone who attacks people at random, because that's just kind of Brutality Inc.'s MO. Charles Betts defeats David Lexing with an 82 rating, Jesus. Utami defeats Maria de Pasqua. After this, another vignette plays at Scott Steiner's gym. This time, Willie Mack is on the weight benches while everyone else is doing cardio, reverse of last week. Scott is still yelling at Willie Mack for doing terrible on the weight benches as well as his cardio last week, and Willie Mack storms off again. Before he can leave, Scott catches up to Willie Mack and keeps yelling at him, saying that Willie Mack isn't going to be anything without Scott's tutelage, and if he doesn't lose some weight, then, well, Willie Mack will be basically out of a job in AEW. Mack eventually pushes Scott Steiner off, and he leaves, with Scott yelling that Willie Mack is dead in the water for leaving, and he's kicked out of the Pop Pump, soon to get kicked out of AEW as a whole. Will Hobbs gets off his treadmill. Of course, Will Hobbs, Willie Mack's tag team partner in Willpower. He gets off his treadmill, and he chastises Steiner for being too harsh on Willie. But Scott Steiner, he's the boss here. He's hearing none of it. He orders Will Hobbs to go back to his work. Hobbs like, you know what? No. And he leaves to chase after Willie Mack. That's a shame. I was hoping for a better gimmick. And in our main event, FTR defeats TH2. And that almost scored better than our Rampage. Our show of Dynamite begins with an IWGP US title match as Brody Lee defeats Jay Lethal. Just imagine there was some build-up on ROH. That's what I'm going to do. After the match, Brody has a wild look in his eyes, as he is wont to do, as he stands tall over the ROH mainstay. However, afterwards, Kevin Steen's music hits, and he comes to the ring. He says, Brody, I have so much damn respect for you, and it sucks to see you like this. Yeah, now you're a champion and whatever, but you've basically gone and sacrificed everything for it. Just think what Amanda and little Brody are thinking right now. I know that maybe you don't want to hear from me, and maybe you do have a point, because, I mean, you're a champion right now, and I'm not. But there's something to be had with having other people at your disposal. You had other people. You had the Dark Order, Brody. And then before Kevin can continue, Brody cuts him off with a massive discus lariat and stands tall over him. He holds up his IWGP US title, and he yells that nothing will take away this title. So Brody, standing tall over Big Kev. After this, we cut to the Team Angle team meeting, with Kurt Angle talking through to everyone on his team. He says that FTR and Layla Hirsch need to know what they're doing with their challenges. Kurt warns FTR about how good Paul White is in the ring, because of course they have definitely had some fights before, Kurt Angle and the Big Show. But FTR point out that, I mean, Paul White's what, like 50 at this point? He's slowed down since Kurt last wrestled him, and especially in recent years. And also, Andrew Everett looks stupid. Kurt Angle just doesn't comment on that. He moves over to Layla Hirsch. He notes that it is a terrible idea to get riled up by Io Shirai, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, yada yada. But Layla then points out that if he wants to prove that his tutelage is good, then she should face Io and have the chance to beat her. And Kurt, he's still talking with FTR and Layla about how all of this is a very stupid idea. And we pan focus over to Charles Betts and Zack Sabre Jr., who are kind of just off to the side. They haven't done anything questionable for a while. Why did another story was supposed to also advance with this, but oh well. And Betts is talking to Zack Sabre Jr. about, you know, hey, it's awesome that we have a gold medalist, that we have a legend of the business like Kurt Angle teaching us. And Zack Sabre Jr. is just kind of, he's pretty silent about it. He's just like, it really isn't. I mean, I was supposed to be this big signing when I came to AEW. You were too, and now we've kind of just floundered doing nothing. They were talking back and forth a little bit. Eventually, ZSJ just gets up. He walks off. Charles Betts chases after him. We see Kurt Angle still talking with FTR and Layla Hirsch. It's because all these guys... Well, I know at least FTR, Betts, and Kurt Angle are very good at being slightly comedic. I'm not sure about Layla Hirsch and Zack Sabre Jr. because I I mainly know about WWE stuff. But it's a bit of a comedic segment. Not really, like... It's not... haha funny, you know, it's not supposed to be 100% comedic, but it has goofy moments. After this, Bronson Steiner defeats Colt Cabana. Garza Jr. then comes down towards the ring after the match, flanked by his Rose Garden and Sammy Guevara. Sammy hands Garza a mic. It's Bronson, how good to see you on Dynamite. I mean, it's been a while since you've been on TV, especially winning on TV. What have you been doing this whole time? Oh, that's right, you've been farming wins on YouTube. To a crowd of thousands, while I am entertaining the masses of millions. So here's what's up, Bronson. The dog-faced gremlin that you are, I don't want to think too long about having you be my challenger. It's disgusting to think that you're next in line to challenge my beauty, to challenge for my beautiful title. So I want to get this over with quickly. Let's just speed this along. I'm going to go and talk to Paul Heyman, because next week, I will accept your challenge, then or never. And I'll beat you so I can move on to a much more pleasing to the eyes contender to my TNT title. Whew. So yeah, Garza quickly wanting to move along to Bronson, because Bronson is pretty low down the card, and also, he's ugly. Apparently. This feels like it should have done way better. For being short. I gotta move... Okay, got it. Make my segments longer. I don't know what that... MJF is then seen in Paul Heyman's office demanding multiple things, notably a new contract, because his is expiring, and Miro being removed from #1 contendership until he beats MJF in a match. Heyman refuses both of these, and eventually, he orders Brock Lesnar to get MJF out of his office. Lesnar could easily manhandle MJF. MJF is kind of kicking and screaming. He says that Heyman's making a mistake unless he accepts his demand, and Heyman just kind of ignores that. He's working on more stuff when a knock comes to the door. Oh. And Heyman's just coming. He's a very busy man, doesn't have time to get up and get to the door. Jon Moxley walks in. Moxley, he's sauntering over to Heyman. He's, you know, he's not really like doing anything physically threatening. He's just kind of, he knows that Heyman's on edge, and Moxley's in a way that it looks like he could definitely start doing something. And he basically says that Heyman is doing a shit job of managing talents if people like MJF are complaining like that. Mox wants his own demands met, and of course he's talked about Heyman with those before, and Heyman still hasn't followed through on any of them, and we the fans, and also, just pulled behind the scene, me the booker, I don't know either, he's willing to back up his threats, unlike MJF is. After this pretty meh match, as the VIPs go up to defeat Cheerleader Melissa and Taya Valkyrie. But this is mainly coming into this next segment. As after the match, Nil, Dashwood, and Deonna Purrazzo are waiting in the ring for their taunter to arrive. The lights turn off, and new music plays, welcoming everyone to Paradise. Titantron shows the name Lexi Paradise, and soon after, the newly christened Lexi Paradise, the former Alexa Bliss, walks out onto the stage. Lexi taunts the VIPs Club more, saying that just entering into AEW, she's already gotten more hype than the VIPs have ever gotten in their career and will ever get in their careers. As an A-list star like her, people were begging for Lexi to show up in AEW, while Deonna and Tenille were free agents that got rejected by their former companies, only to show up crawling into AEW. Now, Lexi is ready to introduce all of AEW into Paradise, starting with the VIPs. Lexi Paradise, the A-lister, former Alexa Bliss. I'm a simp for Alexa, so yeah. We then cut to the new headquarters of the Cult of Cole, where we see Adam looking over his congregation. The Dudley twins bring a captured man, which ends up being Hiromu Takahashi. The Von Dudley says that it was a tough fight capturing him, and Sheridan and Janelle took a decent beating from Takahashi before the numbers were able to take out the ticking time bomb. Cole thanks the Dudleys for their work, and dismisses them to do cult things before he begins preaching about the sanctity of gimmick infringement. Because, of course, this all started from Hiromu Takahashi doing the boom taunt. And Cole, very sensitive about that. Takahashi wants to be this ticking time bomb. This guy ready to explode. Well, Adam Cole knows all about the boom, and he's ready to make Takahashi explode. And I really, okay, got it. Make my segments a little bit longer. Probably, I've usually been making my segments 4 minutes. I'll probably move it up to like 6 or so. After this, the Acclaimed defeat the Hardy Brothers with a roll-up. Actually, very even scores. Matt Hardy, just to explain the ending of this, Matt Hardy is ready to hit a twist of fate on Max Caster, but his knee gives out slightly, and that gives Caster the chance to roll up Matt. Jeff wants to go and break up the pin, but Jonathan Gresham has run out to ringside, and he holds Jeff Hardy's leg while the ref is counting the pin, and it's 1, 2, 3, Matt Hardy is pinned, the Acclaimed run off, and the Bankroll, of course, Banks and Gresham with them, get out of there, and Tony Banks has a mic, and he says that the Bankroll looks for every opportunity to profit, and that includes taking advantage of an injury recovery, because now his boys are going to be making more money from upsetting the Hardys. Simple as that. After this, we have Renee Paquette interviewing Britt Baker about her being #1 contender for Hikaru Shida's TBS title, Rampage. She says, well, Renee, Hikaru Shida's really proven us something, to all of us, to everyone out there. Japanese women are wrestlers that the fans just are here to be creeped on. Look at all the top women who have had success in AEW that have all this fan adoration. Kana, Mayu, Io, Maki, Kairi, all of these just Japanese women. Now, it's nothing against them. They don't want to be this way. But the fans, let's just be honest, the fans have just been using them as fetish material. It's nothing personal against you, Hikaru, but I think it's time we show the world just what AEW can do, what America can show, and what the fans need a little bit of some rehabilitation. Because I'm a harder worker than you, Shida. That's another thing that we have to get off the ground. You are just a wrestler, but me, I am not just a wrestler, I am a dentist too. And you want to know how I got the title? How you got the title of being that TBS champion? I wasn't even in that tournament. Look back at all that time. In that tournament, I wasn't even in it. Britt Baker, the person who was supposed to be the star of AEW's women's division, wasn't even invited. But now, I'm gonna make up for that mistake. I'm gonna make up for it when I take that title from you and just show the world what Britt Baker, DMD, is capable of. This would probably be a very controversial promo, but gets people talking. There's then a cut to the VIP's lounge lobby, where the employees are just sitting around. Ethan Page is talking a lot, while Josh Alexander and Griffin Slater are just completely quiet. Eventually, Brutality Inc. make their way into the lobby, and the VIP's employees, again, mainly Ethan Page, start yelling at him that, hey, we're closed right now, not accepting new people, the penthouse is being repaired, we're not getting any more people, because the VIP's lounge, I'm imagining, is like a hotel. Hotel office building. Of course, the VIPs have their penthouse. The VIPs, of course, MJF, Deanna, and Tanil. Don't confuse those names. So, you know, they're working here. They're basically the bodyguards, security, and Brutality Inc. are like, hey, thanks for telling us that. Because now we can destroy more than just the lobby. So, and it also makes things even more inconvenient for your bosses. So, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. Of course, Dijak, they're not... Okay, never mind. Dijak is about the same size as Griffin, I believe. So, but, in the end, numbers take out the VIPs. Brutality Inc. easily beats them down because, of course, Brutality ready for a fight. VIP's not quite ready for a fight. They're all in suits and whatever. Dijak and Brian Pillman Jr. head up to the penthouse, while the Hit Squad, Wentz and Xavier, start wrecking the lobby. So, bad night for the VIPs. MJF carried off by Brock Lesnar. Their lounge is the lobby of their hotel is destroyed, and basically, Tanil and Deanna just got upstaged by someone who is them but better. In our main event, very disappointing. This is also going to be a poorly rated show. AJ Styles, not MJF, defeats Luchasaurus, Springboard 450. Afterwards, AJ Styles gets up after his victory, and he stares down Jungle Boy, who was at ringside for Luchasaurus. He yells more that he wants Jungle Boy in the Bullet Club with him, and Jungle responds by getting in the ring, lets AJ talk to him more face-to-face. And that's what AJ does, and eventually AJ makes fun of Jungle Boy's hair, saying that it's a poor ripoff of his own to try to copy AJ's look as a bigger star, because of course AJ, he's been a massive star for his entire career. Jungle Boy takes this surprisingly well, or at least it seems like that, until he delivers an enziguri to AJ, knocking him down. AJ rolls out of the ring, flees the scene, as the show ends. Jungle Boy in the ring. 76. Okay. Not bad. I think we were carried by that opening bout, as well as segments. Just gotta remember to change segment length. I think that'll help us out a lot. I legitimately think that this one should have gotten... That one, I think, potentially could have gotten 100. It's Moxley, Heyman, and MJF on mic, or on entertainment, specifically. So, yeah. That will end our show of Dynamite, as we move on to Rampage next.